Hello, friends. It's your favorite tournament fighter, ZBH, going into a new, well, not really new, going for a second round with the Mortal Kombat movie. So we're gonna see if we can do this, see if we can, pick ourselves up from the first one, and just go hope for the best with this one. Since, well, if you watch the tournament bracket that I did with Griff, I'm not very fond of the 2021 one. But this is a sequel, so I'm going in, giving it a chance, see what we got this time. Uh, just from the trailers alone, this looks like a way more accurate, or at least way more fun version of Mortal Kombat in live action. So I'm all in for that. And yeah, they got my boy Johnny Cage there, and I will say Carl Urban is an odd choice to play him. But I love Carl Urban and I love Johnny Cage, so I think he deserves a shot at it. Uh, I want to see what all we can do with this. Can they make me like Shao Kahn finally? Because all the movies have kind of made him suck. So let's see what he can do. He at least looks intimidating in this one. Like in Annihilation, every time he was on screen, I was trying not to laugh because, well, his helmet looks stupid and he looks stupid, so I couldn't really take him seriously. But this guy I kind of buy as a threat to our planet, so they at least did the aesthetic things right, which first movie they did aesthetically I liked the first one, but I just didn't like much else other than the aesthetics. So we got him, and then I know I saw Shang Tsung and Quan Chi are in the trailer, so we got them going for us. So hopefully hopefully Shang Tsung is a bit better in this one than the first one. Nothing to do with the actor. I think he's an alright actor. It's just they didn't let him do anything in the first one other than kill Kung Lao. But hopefully he gets something cool to do. Hope Quan Chi gets something cool to do because that's a character that is really important to the lore, and if they play the cards right, they could do something really cool with him. Obviously, I don't think they're gonna do the whole Sub-Zero thing, but they could. That Quan Chi has ties to NetherRealm and Shinnok, so I have a feeling that they're planting seeds with that guy. They're gonna introduce him in this one, probably do something more with him in the third one, which is already in production, by the way. I thought that was kind of crazy. Before this one even came out, I saw that the third one was in pre-production, which, I mean, it shows that they have confidence in this one, which I hope isn't misplaced. But I think that I kind of do like that too, because at least they're not afraid that this one's gonna bomb, and then they just scrap this reboot series entirely. Because that's not what I want to happen. I want them to get better with each sequel that they do. Like this one already looks way more interesting and way more fun than the first one. And without the restrictions they were under in the first one with COVID and all that nonsense they had to work around. This one seems a lot more uncaged, if you will. So I hope that they're just going to embrace the insanity and the absurdity of it. If they do that, I think I'll have a good time with it. Because the universe of Mortal Kombat is crazy, and like the deeper you go into it, the more insane it gets. So I just hope they go wild with it, and I hope I get to see more Scorpion because I know he's in the trailer, and they show that Bihan gets resurrected as Noob Saibot, which, yeah, I'm here for that, definitely. But The movie is pretty stuffed with characters, so I'm afraid that they may not be able to do like this movie is obviously very ambitious at what they're trying to do, but I feel like maybe they bit off more than they could chew. Hopefully I'm wrong, but when you got like 20 named characters in a movie, it's kind of hard to do many of them justice. I know it's Mortal Kombat, so some of them are not going to survive clearly, but that doesn't. I mean, they'll thin the herd a little bit, but I doubt that they're going to kill like 10 of those characters because they want to use their characters as much as possible. I think they really learned from the first one that just killing off a bunch of named villains like that the way they did was probably not a good idea. Not saying like Cabal was that vital to the future of the franchise or anything, but he was one of the best parts of it. We know that Kano is back, which that does make me happy because that is one thing that they got right, and the first one was Kano's personality, and he's gonna actually have, I think, his robot eye in this instead of that stupid magic eye laser that he had in the first one. So I think this one is definitely looking like a course correction. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily like saying that, but that's just how I feel. Kind of like feels like they took some notes after the first one came out, some of the criticisms, and then some of the things that they wanted to do in the sequel anyway, and just kind of mashing it all together. So I hope we're in for a good time with this. I mean, Mortal Kombat movies, I have no idea going into them if I'm gonna like them or not. As you can see with the bracket that I did, I had some complex feelings about most of them. It's like they really do some things well, and then other things they kind of just meh on. So hopefully this one is pretty good overall. I'm not expecting cinema. I'm not expecting Shakespeare. I'm just give me a good time that doesn't annoy me. That's that's really all I'm asking. Like you've embraced the world of Mortal Kombat now, and once you let everything out of Pandora's box, there's no going back. So seems like they're just going all in with this one, and if they make that third one, if this one does well financially, and they keep going, maybe the third one will be even better. So I'd actually like that for if they just do the trilogy and then end it. It would be cool if every single movie got slightly better than the first one. Hopefully, a lot better than this first one. But it seems like they're already making steps and they're planning things out a bit better. At the end of the first one, they really just said, "Yeah, the tournament's going to be the next movie." That's about all the setup they did for it. So I think this one will probably you probably could just watch the second one, even if you haven't seen the first one, because I don't know, they did a lot of stuff, but I don't think a lot of stuff worked in the first one. So I'm like, yeah, I can just skip that one. I can just go to this one if I on a rewatch probably. So let's talk about the Cole Young in the room. Uh, again, nothing against the actor. I like Lewis Tan a lot, and I hope he gets some good projects in the future. I just wish that Cole Young as a character worked for me, but he really didn't in the first one. The sequel's a chance to fix that. That's something that I do hope they do because like I said, I like the actor and I think he has potential if you actually use him effectively. Whenever I did rewatch the first one for this one being released, I did pay close attention to because I remember that stupid prophecy plot line that they set up with him. He said all they said they didn't say he was going to be like the main hero or anything of the tournament, like that he was going to be the savior of the world. They never said that, so I appreciated that about the prophecy. All it said was he would bring the champions of Earth together, which by the end of the first one is basically true. It's basically happened, and then I know he'll help Johnny out in this one, so it maybe bring him in a little bit. So as long as they do Cole okay, or do him better than the first one, I'm okay with that. That being said, I don't expect him to survive the movie, which kind of sucks for Louis Tan, but I understand if they. I mean, you make an original character, and then if people respond to him well, you keep him around. If people didn't like him, then it's an excuse. It's a character that has the built-in excuse of killing them because they're not as attached to him as they are to Johnny or Sonya or Jax, any of these named characters that people already know. Not saying that's fair, not saying that's right, but it just kind of is the way it is. So I will say that there are even more characters than I thought going into the going into that movie. Just from that last trailer that they released, which I gotta say that was the best trailer that they did for the movie, because it's like a minute long, and it's literally just the Mortal Kombat theme, a funny scene with Johnny Cage at a bar, and then it's just like a super cut of all the action in the movie, and it shows you all the characters, all their names, so you know, like whenever you see them in the movie, you know who they are before they even say their name. Which why do movies not do that? Like, if this is a movie, if you do a movie where there's a big roster of characters, I mean, especially if they're like pre-established in the franchise or something, but like that's something kind of retro that I think we should probably go back to, at least with ensemble movies that have a lot of like colorful characters and stuff. Like, just introducing them in the trailer is a good idea where you know their look and their name, and if it's something like Mortal Kombat where the characters have powers and stuff, you can do like a quick showcase of what they do. So I just think that's cool. Like I mean, it's very retro, but retro doesn't mean bad. Like, there's a difference between retro and dated, so you don't have to do, not everything back then would work, but that's something that could work pretty easily. Like, let me give you an example. If they, if they did like a Transformers movie, but they did a trailer introducing all the robots in a similar way to this, where you see their name, their look, a little bit of their personality and their powers or like fighting abilities and stuff. I think that would go a long way because, to the casual people that would just watch a Transformers movie, they go in, they don't know most of the characters. They know Optimus, they know Megatron, they might know Bumblebee, but I think that that's such a cool idea that more movies should do, is just have a character trailer where you show all your characters doing something cool, and then it literally doesn't have to spoil the plot at all. Just tell people what the vibe is, what the action is like, what the characters are like, and it's like 60 seconds. Honestly, I think that's that's one of my favorite trailers I've seen in a long time because it did everything that it was trying to do so effectively. So I'm hoping for the best with this movie. Uh, I'll be back shortly after I've seen it to let y'all know my thoughts. But I'm hopeful for it. Let's see what happens, and hopefully everything will turn out all right.
It's showtime.
Let's fucking go.
Mortal Kombat 2.
All right, Mortal Kombat Take 2. Mortal Kombat Second Health Bar. I don't know, what do you want to call this one? I'm not sure. Maybe just Mortal Kombat 2. But, yeah, just leaving that, I have to say, really enjoyed it. I had a really good time with this. And, I know it's maybe not for everybody, I understand that. I know a lot of people didn't like the first one, and probably aren't going to show up for this one, but I will say that if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, maybe give it a shot. I understand not going to the theaters to see it, but I think you definitely should watch it at some point, because I think they got it. I think they understood what people wanted to see more of, and they gave them a whole bunch of stuff in this, and overall, I think everything just got upped in quality. But, so yeah, if you don't want any spoilers or anything, I just know I recommend it, and if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, check it out. But let's get into some details that, uh, that not all of them are going to be spoilers, but just some overall thoughts, some more general thoughts about it. I think that all the characters were done pretty well that they did. I mentioned in the first half that there's a huge roster of characters that they're dealing with in this one. I think that while some of them don't get very much screen time, I think what they did with them was pretty good. The the pretty effective use of their time, and you got a lot of bang for your buck with this one. I just thought it was really cool that they got there's scenes in this movie where Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, and Quan Chi are all on screen together, and they all act like they're like the characters in the game. So it felt like a really good translation of a bunch of the characters. So I finally like Shao Kahn in a Mortal Kombat movie. Let the record show that I actually really like this interpretation of Shao Kahn. Pardon me, the wipers are having a conniption, looks like. Yeah, but I really like all the characters. Kano came back. He's awesome, like he was the first time. I think it seemed like all the characters from the first one that are back, they, I think everybody kind of grew into their roles better. Like Sonya, Jax, Cole, and Liu Kang, they all feel a bit more like the characters. Well, Cole's an OC, but I still like Cole, and I actually like Cole in this movie a decent amount. But overall, I really enjoyed this. It did some creative things. It did some surprising things. I will say that. I'll throw up a spoiler tag when I talk about this really surprising stuff they did. But let's get to the man of the hour, Mr. Cage, Johnny Cage, and him joining the movie. I think it was a great idea. And while Carl Urban is not the guy I would have cast to play this character, I have to say he really does a good job. And I mean, it's Carl Urban, so I like Carl Urban. I like Johnny Cage as a character. So I was like, okay, I'll definitely give it a chance. it's one of those things. It's like it's such an odd casting choice, but it might actually work. Looking back at the '95 Mortal Kombat, it's kind of like Christopher Lambert playing Raiden. Such a weird casting decision, but I really liked him in that first movie. So I just think some weird choices actually work sometimes. That was one of them. This is one of them. As to some criticisms I have of the movie, like I said, there's a whole bunch of characters in it. Some of them don't get very much screen time. Like I wish that again Scorpion doesn't have much screen time, but it is cool when he's there. He Scorpion and well used to be Sub Zero, but now is Noob Saibot in this movie. Both of them were pretty cool. Uh, one thing is there a lot of the climax, or at least half the climax, takes place in NetherRealm, so it's like a all CGI environment. So it looks kind of weird in some shots, but I say when it's them in their practical costumes doing the stuff, it looks really cool. I don't. One thing I don't understand about it though is so in the lore, Bihan becomes Sub Zero, and then after he gets killed, he gets resurrected as Noob Saibot. But in this movie, they don't ever call him that, and I don't really know why. Because if Mortal Kombat fans that are familiar with the character, they see him show up after he's resurrected, they would know that's Noob Saibot just by sight. But they just mainly call him Beamon in this. Even in the remix of the Mortal Kombat theme that they play over the credits, they say all the character names and with the actor's name on screen that played them. That was a really cool decision. I really like that. But they call him Bihan. They don't call him Noob Noob at all. They do mention that he was Sub Zero. So I mean, I guess that was for the people that may not have remembered that Sub Zero was in the first one. But maybe it's a rights thing. I know that there's a lot of weird stuff with names and rights issues where like there's different rights for Peter Parker and Spider-Man as names, so you can you can use one thing sometimes and you can't use the other. I don't know what happened there. It's not a big deal. It's just something I noticed. Uh, some characters that I'm glad that I ended up really liking. I didn't really know how I was gonna feel about them going in, but Katana and Jade, I really liked their interpretation in this movie. Uh, they have Katana's backstory is like the beginning of the movie with Shao Kahn fighting her father, taking over after he wins. So all that was executed pretty good. The It is kind of interesting because the trailers they tell you basically that Johnny Cage is the lead character, which he kind of is, but Katana's like a stealth protagonist in the movie. Because, she's fighting for Shao Kahn, technically, but she eventually turns against him. Which, I mean, that's part of the lore, so I mean, that's not really a spoiler. But I did like that they gave Katana like a whole character arc, even though she wasn't really the main focus. But it was cool to get to see that fulfilled. But that was one thing from the older movies and the animated films and stuff that I couldn't really. Katana wasn't given much to do in those movies, so I'm glad that Katana got something cool to do in this. And then Jade gets an arc too because they're like best friends in this, and even though Jade is technically like her servant, technically because of Shao Kahn placed her as her bodyguard, but I just really like their dynamic. It's really cool seeing them train together and then just their banter back and forth with each other and the conflict that they have because figure out that Jade figures out that she's working with EarthRealm, so she's conflicted. Yeah, there's just overall, it was really solid stuff. Uh, where this movie ends is really interesting, but to talk about that, I'm gonna have to, I'll throw up the spoiler tag now because I got to talk about some of the crazy shit that happens in this movie, and it involves who dies in the movie. So I'll tell you that right now. So that was your warning. Here we go. So surprising, probably nobody, or at least most people probably would have figured it out. But Cole gets killed in the movie by Shao Kahn, really brutally. Like and it was quick. Like when I saw that he was fighting Shao Kahn, I was like, yeah, he's gonna lose, obviously. But man, that was one of the most brutal kills in the movie. And like I said before, I don't have anything against Louis Tan, the actor. I just wasn't really blown away with Cole Young as a character in the first movie. This movie, I think he grew on me a little bit. So I actually kind of cared that he died because I mean, they're already up. The whole team's already up against a wall, fighting crazy odds against them. So then when he died, I was like, okay, well, I mean, if you're gonna kill off a character, that makes sense to kill him off. But but then the deaths didn't stop there either, which I kind of appreciate because it's called Mortal Kombat, and there's a shocking lack of death in a lot of the movies, at least back then. Part of it was because of the rating; they couldn't go as hard as they wanted to, or they could as a video game. But anyway, so Cole dies. We weren't really shocked by that, but then Jax dies really horribly against Shao Kahn. Not even in this isn't even in the tournament. Like he just like there's a plot line about how to take down Shao Kahn because Shao Kahn's cheating, conspiring with Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Go figure. I mean, that's just typical villain shit that he would do. But yeah, Jax dies really brutally, and I was like, oh, okay, we're not just killing off the characters I expected. Like you're actually gonna start killing off more people than I expected. But then I'm like, okay, that's probably the last like big surprise they're gonna throw at me. Nope. The final match of the tournament. It's supposed to be Shao Kahn and Katana versus Liu Kang and Sonya, but yeah, Katana had betrayed him at that point, so she wasn't really an active participant in the fight. So then Shao Kahn kills Liu Kang, and I was like, oh, wait, what? That's not going at all the direction I was expecting. It's like, I don't know what's happening now, because I mean, spoiler: a lot of the games, a lot of the story, Liu Kang is the guy who beats Shao Kahn. Like, I thought that was is interesting. Like, he's kind of the chosen one, kind of Raiden's chosen one to defeat Shao Kahn, save Earth. But in this one, he specifically says he's not the chosen one, and he dies, but it's like he doesn't die like the normal characters do. He goes up into a pillar of fire and like disappears. So I think it had something to do with like his powers or something. And he said that he's going to bring back his brother Kung Lao from the first movie, who is also in this movie as an evil version of him, like an undead version. Gotta say, they didn't get enough screen time in the first movie for me to care about their dynamic as much. This one makes you care about that, makes you realize like how much Kung Lao meant to Liu Kang and them fighting and that that whole scene subplot in the movie was really good. And then one of the biggest surprises of the movie was Baraka and how they adapted him into the story. Because I'm like, yeah, Baraka's a villain. He's gonna be fighting for Shao Kahn probably, but then no, he's kind of like a more neutral party in this. Like the heroes have to travel in a secretive way that goes through his territory. So then they end up challenging him to a fight, and it's Johnny versus Johnny and gets Baraka fighting, and it's one of the most entertaining scenes in the movie. Just seeing like Johnny completely floundering at first, just trying not to get murdered, and then when he gets his groove into the fight, and he really gives it to Baraka in the fight. Super entertaining and really funny, and I did not see that storyline happening at all. That Baraka wasn't like as he wasn't really that bad of a guy. He was just kind of doing his own thing, and then he met Johnny, and even though they fought each other, they kind of became friends after it, which that's some super like anime stuff, like that kind of stuff that I like about stuff like anime, where they're enemies and they fight each other, and then one of them comes out on top, but then spares the life of the other one, and they end up becoming friends or at least like rivals, so they could fight again. Yeah, super cool stuff. I just really like this movie. If I have any other thoughts, I'll leave it. I'll probably gonna leave it here right now, but if you have any additional thoughts, I'll add it in the editing room.
Johnny will definitely die.
Fatality.